This is John with Kenpo Buki Senjutsu, or KBS. I'm going to talk about reaction time. Up to now, I've covered distance, initial movement, and started talking about how you have to isolate body movement so your opponent won't see an attack coming until it's halfway there. Hold on a second. But oftentimes crooks or bad guys, they don't want to go mano a mano and just say, hey, you give me the money or I'm going to beat you up. A lot of times they'll have deadly force as a threat. So a knife or a gun, both will kill you just as easily. Both close distances are just as worrisome. I mean, a lot of people think the gun is more worrisome, but for close in, it doesn't really have an advantage over a knife, being that you have to deal with reaction time, which this video is about. So reaction time, what is it? Well, we're not talking about reaction time and then how long it takes to mount an attack after that. So if somebody, a bad guy, is coming at you, they hold out the knife, hey, give me your money or I'm gonna slice you, or give me your money or I'm gonna shoot you. Well, you only have how long it takes them to pull the trigger or to push the knife out as your reaction time if you decide to try something. So say you decide you're going to punch somebody and you rear back a little bit to really throw in a good punch to knock them out. Well, reaction time is, Google talks about it as being a quarter of a second, so 0.25 seconds to 0.35 seconds. So if you do some stutter steps for a second, you might go tick 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 tock, tick 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 tock, tick 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 tock, tick 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 tock. So a quarter of a second is the tock tick tick tock, tick 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 tock, tick 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 tock, tick 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 tock. So a fourth of a second, you can certainly mount an attack using initial movement. But if you're just going to dive at the guy to wrestle with them, a quarter of a second may not do it so easy, because if you're using your whole body to dive at him, he cues off of the whole body movement quickly. However, if you're just trying to do a quick jab or knock the knife out of the way or the gun out of the way with initial movement, you're going to be able to do that way easier. He's not going to notice it until you're halfway there. Then the reaction time starts, and you gotta go ta tick 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 ta tick 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 ta tick tick. So ta tick. You have that much time to get your move out of the way. Now there's those on the internet who talk about disarming the gun or the knife, and I noticed they're using their whole body, and if they can do it in a quarter of a second, that can work. But I wouldn't want to bet my life on it. I would rather use isolated motion, get a little bit of advantage, and then get it out of the way. And then after that, mount my attack controlling the gun or the knife. So my point is here, say the bag is attacking me, and I have a gun or a knife, and I'm ready to go at him. Well, if the bag attacks me, and then I go, I'm going to shoot, boom, it's out of my way. Or I'm going to stab him if he does something, if he does it right, the knife's out of the way, or knocked out of the way. Same difference if I'm attacking the guy. If I am just trying to kill him and not rob him, and I have the drop on him, the first one that moves wins this close. That means he can win because he can reach out, knock the attack offline, and do an eye shot. Half fist to the throat. Those are two very quick movements that have a lot of percussions. You're not going to kill him, but you're going to make it so he can't immediately fight back. So now if I'm this far away, I can, it's easier for me to mount an attack, but I can, if I start the motion here, or if I start the motion here, both sides I win. If I start the motion here, or if I start the motion this far away, I win. Okay, so so what I'm trying to say is reaction time matters. Okay, well, what do I do if he has the drop on me and he's got a gun or a knife and he's trying to kill me? Well, one thing I could do is I could deflect it out of the way and mount a lethal attack on him. Boom. So in that case, as you see, my knife folded back on me. I didn't have it all the way deployed. But getting it out of the way, doing a lethal attack on him, I could certainly do that. Something else I could kind of do that I could do fast if I am the one who is starting it and he's trying to get me, boom, I could do something of that sort. However, drawing the gun takes a little more, is a little more of a challenge. If something gets stuck up on there, you know, it take you 3/4 of a second to get it deployed. Well, in a 1/4 of a second, he realizes something's going on, then he mounts his attack. If he's got the drop on you, though, he's got you. So I know this was kind of confusing video. So the point I'm trying to talk about is reaction time. The reaction time is a 1/4 of a second. That's what you could probably depend on, unless you were bred with a cat and you have fast, 70% of your body is fast twitch muscles. People only have like 40% of your body is fast twitch muscles. So if you had to fight a cat, all bets are off. Their reaction time is far quicker. But for a person, if he's got the drop on you, and you say, hey man, you know, you have your money and stuff, but he's got a deadly weapon on you and your life is now at risk, you could very easily pop the knife or the gun off of the line, hit him with an eye shot, grab the gun, or make sure you've got the gun, and then continue the attack and win pretty easily. Now, so as far as what attacks you can mount, you could do a knife, you could do the eye shot. If you have a license to carry a gun, you could do a gun. But bottom line, be aware of that reaction time. You don't want to get into the position to where you try to mount an attack and you forgot the initial movement and you use your whole body to try to grab this gun and the gun goes off and hits you, rather than just isolated motion, knock it offline, and then do whatever you're going to do. See that you have a 1/4 of a second. A 1/4 of a second goes like the beginning of a second is going to be the ta. So ta tit 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 ta tit 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 ta tit 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 ta. You go ahead and do that. Watching the second hand, you realize how fast a 1/4 of a second goes by. It isn't long. If you're trying to grab for something in your pockets or something, like I can pull out a knife in less than 2 seconds, but that won't help me if they've got the drop on me. So as a martial artist, typically the gun isn't going to do you any good, the knife isn't going to do you a lot of good unless you already have your hands on it in your pocket, and it's just a matter of drawing it out. In that case, boom, you can do that in a 1/4 of a second, but you still have to knock the weapon offline. But what you always have is you always have your quick little eye shot to hit, confuse, half fist. You could punch them. You could do a lot of things really quickly if you start the movement first and get it done within that reaction time, at least knocking the weapon offline. So this is a confusing topic. Remember, the important thing, you have a 1/4 of a second to do whatever you're going to do, but the attacker doesn't know you have a 1/4 of a second probably. If they're standing this close to you and have a gun or a knife, they're idiots. And that could go well for you. So this is John with KBS signing off. Thank you.